What's up, y'all? This your girl, Rocki Patrice. On Instagram, I'm Rocki the Mogul, and I'm on Industry Most Wanted podcast with my girl, TampaMystic. Let's get it.
Hey, what's going on, man? It is your girl, TampaMystic, and we are live. Where are we at?
Industries.
Big Industries Most Wanted, not the little one.
Wanted.
Listen, I got a beautiful, beautiful guest with me today. Shout out to Rocki Patrice, Rocki the Mogul. Rocki, Miss out here doing everything in the building. How you doing, beautiful?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course, I appreciate you being here. We did this over the phone before, but we got to have that energy, right?
Right.
Well, definitely. You do have a lot going on. So, give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Well, my name is Rocki Patrice. On Instagram, I go by Rocki the Mogul. And pretty much, I'm just a serial entrepreneur. I do a lot. Like, it's kind of hard to put me in a box. But from production to management to PR, you name it, anything that's developmental, I do it. That's just the easiest way to sum it up.
Exactly. She does a lot of things, y'all. You can't box her in. And I love that because in today's world, we have to have multiple hustles.
Right, facts.
We can't just do one thing. But I really want to take it back just a little bit so people can understand your journey of how Rocki got to where Rocki's at. So you were born in Mobile, Alabama.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Take us back to them days in Mobile. What was it like for you?
So ironically, I claim Mobile because that's where I was born. And I feel like a lot of who I am foundational wise comes from my roots, which is from Mobile.
Yes.
But I spent majority of my time in Atlanta.
I got you.
And it's one of those awkward things where, like, if I'm at home in Alabama, they're like, oh, that's my cousin from Atlanta. And then when I'm here, it's like, that's my friend from Alabama. So it's like, nobody wants to claim me.
She's from both, you guys. We'll just say she's from both.
But I've been here since 1 year old.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but I went back after in my last year in high school, right during Hurricane Katrina. I went back to Alabama just in time to get caught in a storm.
Oh my gosh.
And and that's where a lot of my music career jumped off in Alabama. It started here, but it jumped off in Alabama.
Got you. Also, too, you just celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I get to tell you in person, happy birthday, you know.
Just don't ask how old. Thank you.
She's 21. We 21 forever.
Right, exactly.
That's our industry age. No, I'm sure you're quite young. Definitely. So moving to ATL, do you feel like, I know you were doing music initially starting out, do you feel like ATL did have an influence on you for that?
It definitely did. So everybody's here is so talented. And so it's kind of hard to be in this energy and not explore your talents. So funny story, I had no aspirations for music. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, to be honest. That's where my heart was growing up. And so when I was about 13, 14 years old, I was at the studio with one of my play brothers, and he rapped, and he was really good. Like, I would put him against Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, anybody. He was that good.
Wow.
So I would do hooks for him, like, just a female voice. So he was like, your voice sound good on wax. Why don't you try to write a verse?
Yeah.
So looking up to him, I'm like trying to mimic myself behind how he flow. And I wrote something. He was like, you dope. Like, you should do this. And so from that point forward, I just started exploring it. I did a 3-song demo. I had a song called Rumble, and I had a song called Throw Them Deuces. I was under Lucci Millions, which was the same management company for now known as FLY, but they used to go by Die Hard.
Yeah.
And so we were also under Dirty, which was managing the Yin Yang Twins. So we was getting out, moving around a little bit.
Absolutely.
But when I left Atlanta and went back to Alabama, that's when I got the team, the machine to, like, really push myself forward. So, yeah.
Man. Listen, it's funny because people who know you now probably didn't know that you did music.
Facts.
That's one of them surprising fun facts, right?
Right.
About how long would you say that you were pursuing music as an artist?
Let's see, from the age of 14, I would say maybe to about 25 was when I kind of drew the line in the sand. Like, yeah, it's time for me to, number one, stability as an artist is important.
Yes.
And so that's why I love what I do as a manager, because I understand that you have to manage your real life while trying to push yourself. And you have to have balance in doing that.
Yes.
So just to kind of switch gears a little bit, but one of the reasons why my clients love me is because I meet them where they are. I don't have like a package. I look at you, I assess you, what you need. We figure out what you can afford, and then we work from there. So I got all different types of clients on different levels. They all in different places, and I work with them where they are.
I love that. It's not like cookie cutter, because it can't be a one size fits all. It absolutely can't, because there may be some artists that are at different, like you said, different levels. So you have to meet them where they are.
Right.
Let's just dive into that. You know, for any artist out here at any level wanting to work with you, we'll say it's an independent artist, really not no buzz, kind of starting out. Are you accepting new clients right now?
Yes, strategically, because I do have my hands full a little bit.
Yeah.
I do work with other PR and management companies to support them with their clients. So I have to keep enough balance to make sure I don't overwhelm myself.
Sure.
I am looking for help, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking to build my team. So if it's anybody that has aspirations to do what I'm doing, I would gladly teach you.
That's one of the hardest things to do, is find those people that you're seeking.
Yes.
I've tried it as well. I brought people in that want to be my assistant, and it's just difficult, because we as women take a lot of pride in our business. You know, we work hard to build it, and it's like we don't need anybody coming in tearing it down because their lack of work ethic or what weirdo things they might do outside of here that could potentially reflect back on us here.
Right.
It's difficult.
Right.
I understand. Shout out some of the independent artists you're working with right now.
So I want to definitely shout out Puda in Alabama. I'm very passionate about Puda because Puda's like my baby.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when I met Puda, he was just really starting out, but he had a catalog that was like, okay, so we got to go ahead and groom you and get you ready. But what I love about him is he's not in a rush. He's very patient in the process. So he's really taking his time with making sure once this song that we're pushing goes crazy, which we're on the radio now in Atlanta, shout out to DJ Smack. And we're also in the clubs moving around by way of DJ Smack kind of helping us break this record. And so, but he's taking his time. Like a lot of artists, they want it to happen overnight, you know. But he's patient with the process. We got a feature from Huncho.
Nice.
We have a feature from the Famous Twins, which is the song that's moving around right now. It's called Run It. So y'all go check that out. Puda, that's one of, I hate to feel like I'm putting him on a pedestal over everyone else, but he's been with me for a minute.
Sure.
And so on one end, I'm like, I've made more progress with other clients in this time frame, but he's like, look, I'd rather take my time, build my catalog, make sure that, you know, everything is what it's supposed to be. So when I pop out, I can pop all the way out the right way. So he's teaching me in that regard, you know, because I'm like, let's get it done, you know. But so I love that. And he's a very loyal, great person. So shout out to Puda in Alabama. I just picked up quite a few new artists. Wackhead, he got a song called Too Much, so y'all will see him soon. We're actually getting our motion going right now. Mr. Quack Quack. Mr. Quack Quack been moving around in Atlanta for a minute.
Long time. And he's a big ball of energy.
Right, he is. I love him because he just so himself.
He is.
He is just so
unapologetically.
Himself. Yes.
Love it.
And that is the formula. If you want to do music, you want to be an actor, actress, you have to get in front of that camera and be a natural.
Yes.
And I loved it about him. He's himself. We did a photo shoot recently, and I'm like, you comfortable with this? He's like, yeah, let's do whatever, you know. So shout out to him. I feel like I'm forgetting. I'm definitely forgetting somebody, but I have Lil Driss. I'm sorry, Driss. I got you, Driss. Driss right now is taking a hiatus, which I respect because of Ramadan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Lil Driss, he has a song with Boosie's daughter, Poison Ivy.
Yes.
Called Walk. So, and it has a dance to it. So we got some big things coming with that. And, you know, I can't name everybody, but those are the main people, my independents that I'm working with currently. And then, you know, I got a slew of other people that I'm collaborating with, and, you know, it could be a lot.
Absolutely. Listen, I commend you because I attempted the artist management years ago, and it's a lot.
Right.
Because some of these artists, not the ones you're working with, it sounds like they're doing a phenomenal job, especially the Puda. I had the opportunity to interview him a while back, but
you were actually his first interview.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, we got to get him to come sit down with me some point in time. I would love to have him come sit down.
Absolutely.
Some of these artists need a babysitter rather than a manager.
Right.
And that's just what it is. Shade, but no shade, but shade, like
right.
Some of them need a babysitter and we can't want it more than them.
Facts.
So how do you decide, how does Rocki decide if an artist comes to you and they want you to manage them or work with them on any level? How do you decide if you're going to take them on as a client?
Well, so the initial process is, like I was saying before, that assessment.
Yeah.
So during that assessment period, it's my turn to see if you're going to be a good fit for me and if I'm going to be a good fit for you.
I love it.
And then also just seeing budget-wise, because the reality is it's an investment.
Yes.
You know, it's not going to happen just because you got a dope song.
Right.
Especially in this day and time. Back in the day, maybe. You know, you get the right person to believe in you. But now it's like you have to be a dope brand. That's even more important than the music at this point.
Yeah.
So I do that assessment, and during that process, I'm kind of figuring out, like, you know, if I'm giving you tasks, you may not realize it, but I'm telling you, like, okay, I need this from you. And how prompt you are with getting it done, it let me know, like, are you playing with what you're doing, or are you serious? So the ones that are serious, they're prompt about moving and getting stuff done. So it's like, okay, so if you can figure out a realistic budget that you can stay consistent with, then I'll figure out what I can do with it. And then if that works for both of us, then we'll move forward. And if not, then, you know, I'm available. And even if an artist don't lock in with me, once we connect, if it's something that's good for you, I'll still throw it your way, you know? Because I ain't no gatekeeper, even though I am a gatekeeper a little bit.
I mean, you have to be with certain things.
Right, you do. You really do.
But that's funny because that was going to be the next thing I was going to ask you. So if they don't lock in with you necessarily as a management client or maybe under PR, but they want to run a campaign with you, we'll say. That's something that you're open to doing as well.
Yes.
Okay. Under the PR services, what are you offering for independent artists?
So PR services, brand placement. So like, let's say if you're promoting, because I work with more than just artists.
Sure.
So let's just say as an artist, you're promoting your new single. We'll do article placements on different blog sites, which from any blog you can think of. I have an extensive list. 250 to be exact.
Wow, it's a big list.
Interviews, interview prep, you know, making sure that you're in the right rooms with the right people at the right time. Some red carpet experiences. Like, not everybody get the same thing because, again, everybody's at a different level.
Sure.
So certain rooms may require this level and then certain rooms may not allow it. But it's pretty much just making sure you're visible, making sure that you can expand your reach. And then it's also based off your goals, because everybody's goals are different. Some people say, hey, look, I don't need all of that. I just really want to be in those rooms, or, you know, so we just kind of, we customize it. It's based off the client always.
Absolutely. And you guys heard what she said. She doesn't work with just artists. So, you know, we're talking like if you're a business owner, perhaps an entrepreneur, maybe an actor, actress.
Right.
Speaking on which, you've done a lot of work with Love and Hip Hop.
Right.
Cash Doll Tour.
Right.
You know, what have these experiences been like for you?
So Love and Hip Hop is my baby because that was my first network TV experience. I had produced an independent film before, Vanity Vixens with Director Vinny. Shout out to Director Vinny. He gave me my first opportunity as a producer. But when I got to Love and Hip Hop, I'm coming as a PA, which is a production assistant. Now, anything assistant, you know, can be a rough job. But I wouldn't say it was rough, but it was just like, it was a new territory for me because I'm used to being that one that's like in control.
In charge, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then I had to humble all the way down. But I appreciated it because I learned so much, even that I can take outside of that room. And so that opportunity opened up a door for another opportunity, Caught in the Act Unfaithful. I started off as a PA there, and within 2 weeks, I moved to Locations. And Locations is where I learned that I was really a segment producer.
Okay.
So a segment producer produces the location, if you have to cast or get extras or whatever the case may be to be able to complete this scene. Props, you know, whatever's needed for the scene. So I realized then that that's really where you're going to be most beneficial because my brain is going 20 miles per hour.
Sure.
And the details matter to me.
Yeah.
So just giving you a location and it's not ready, that's like, but giving you a location and it's like, and it don't have this, but I got this, and this. If I can do that, then I'm happy with my job. So different opportunities that I can jump into to be able to be more of a segment producer, I would be looking forward to in production. But yeah.
Absolutely. So you enjoy diving into these newer roles per se.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like you. I have to back down sometimes because I like to be in charge of everything.
Right.
Even like my videographer, bless his heart, when he films like my behind the scenes, sometimes I find myself telling him what to do and I'm like, stop. He knows what to do. You know,
it's so hard.
It's so hard.
When you're used to it, and sometimes people, and that's one of my biggest takeaways from working in production, because you got all these different people. Everybody's role on any TV show is important.
Yes.
The smallest person to the largest person. Everybody's part gets the job done. So one thing that I did learn is, being in those rooms, you have to respect everybody in their space.
Yes.
And even though this might be something that you know how to do, that don't mean you should necessarily do it, because that's somebody else's creativity. But I'm not going to tell you that I knew that walking into it, So that's something that I learned through the process, and it was a dope experience.
Yeah.
Like, it really was. It was dope.
I think when we're so used to wearing so many different hats, that when you walk into a situation where, like, on production, on TV set or film set, and there's, like you said, there's somebody in place for every role, we're not used to that.
Right.
We're used to playing all those roles.
Right.
So going in there, we kind of want to dominate and do this and do that. It's like, hold on. And it's probably like a breath of fresh air that you're not having to do so many things and be all over the place. You've got a true team around you.
Right.
I love that. Let's take it to the personal side for just a moment. And I hope you don't mind me asking you this. You lost your mother. I lost mine too, so I know it's so difficult.
Right.
That period in time in your life, what was it like for you?
So my mom, out of the blue, she's sick,
Man.
And she had been sick, but she didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
So it's Thanksgiving. She comes to Atlanta to visit. This is after I relocated back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And she comes to Atlanta to visit. She's 100% mobile, right? And so within 3 months of her being up here, we just kind of like, Mama never went back home, but we haven't seen her. Where is she, right? So she was kind of like, ducked off because she didn't want us to see her because she was declining.
Yeah.
And so we kind of did like an intervention, me and my sisters, and we went over to where she was. And it's like, we need to put eyes on you. Yeah. And when I saw her, she was like completely different, completely different. Like, cancer, it takes over fast.
Yes.
And it don't take any time for that to happen. So that happened and I was pregnant. So
oh my gosh.
My daughter was born premature. She was born at 2 pounds, and my mom passed away 2 weeks after she was born.
You're about to make me cry.
Don't cry. It took me a long time to get to the point where, like, I just respect the journey,
Yeah.
But when she passed away, my daughter was in one hospital. My daughter's at Atlanta Medical. My mom's at Grady. And it's like, okay, God, what's happening?
What is going on?
Right.
That's a lot to bear.
Right. But the blessing in it all, my mom was such a trooper through the whole process. Like, I never seen her cry, sweat, complain. She went through this journey where I know she was in, like, excruciating pain. And she never, when I tell you she never complained, I never seen her in a dull moment. Like, her only energy was, God is in control. He knows what he's doing. God is sovereign. And so she's like, he's intentional. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be around you while you're going through this, I have to get on the same wave as you. So I embraced the same energy that she had with what she was going through to support her. I never thought she was dying, though. I didn't, honestly.
Yeah.
But she went to the hospital one day and she never came back home. And so I like to use her story because my mom was very fearless, but she gave us her testimony before she passed away. And she was just saying, like, how fear at one time controlled her.
Yeah.
And so for me, that resonated. So I don't care what it is I have to do. I'm going to do it broke. I'm going to do it sad. I'm going to do it hungry. I'm going to do it sleepy. I'm going to do it alone, but I'm going to do it because fear controlled my mom and it stopped her from doing something about something that could have saved her life.
Absolutely. That we can't walk around with our life in fear. And oftentimes people don't go to the doctor and get checkups and stuff because they fear of what they may find out.
Right.
Where if they go, maybe you can catch it in time.
Right.
Because your mom's scenario sounds exactly, my condolences to you. I lost my sister to cancer at 41 years old. And it literally, she found out in April she had cancer. She died in May. It was like, boom, just like, but she started declining, like you said, your mom did in February. Became kind of to herself because she didn't want people to see that she was even having a hard time walking.
Right.
And I kept telling her, sis, you got to go to the doctor. Something's going on. I feel the same way. But like you said, God is very intentional. We just have to support the journey because the reality is we're all going to check out at some point in time.
Exactly.
We're all going to check out. A beautiful blessing that came at that time as you had your baby girl.
Right.
2 pounds.
2 pounds.
My gosh. How far along were you when you gave birth?
25 weeks.
Wow.
Yes, 25 weeks. I had a regular childbirth.
Man.
I'm talking about
water
broke, dilated 8 centimeters.
What?
Yes, contractions, everything, the whole 9, vaginal childbirth. She just came early, and it was almost like God gave me her.
Yes.
Because I was about to be overwhelmed with losing my mom. And it helped because I was so in tune with my daughter's health because she was trying to grow.
Sure.
My mom was declining, but my daughter was getting stronger. And so through that 2-week time frame between my daughter being born and my mom passing away, they both had surgery. My mama never came out of surgery. My daughter came out stronger, And so it took about 3 months to get her out the hospital.
Wow.
She came home. We had some challenges when she came home, but I was so in tune with just being a great mother that I had no time to think about losing mine.
God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. And, people he works in mysterious ways. Well, guess what? Sometimes he does. I feel like you are absolutely right. You needed that at that moment, having your daughter and being focused on her because it really helped you through the transition of losing your mom because that's very, very difficult.
Right. And so I experienced what they call delayed grieving.
Yeah.
Because I was so in tune with life and being a parent and trying to figure, I'm 20 years old. I just lost my mom. I ain't have no real plan in place for life at this point other than I'm just going to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Well, rapping kind of was put way on the back burner when my daughter was born because I have to build her strength up. And so I didn't know where I was headed. So it's like, okay, go get you a decent job. Make sure you can provide for this child because I lost about 4 to 5 months of being able to plan, no baby shower, no nothing. So, but it was such a blessing that my daughter came because she taught me so much, even just in her fight.
Yes.
Just watching her grow from 2 pounds. She lost weight first.
Wow.
So she went to 1 pound. Then she built back up. She came home at like maybe 8 pounds, and she had to go to the eye doctor, pulmonologist, cardiologist. She had to go see these people regularly, so it was a lot, But it detoured me from grieving my mom, so I grieved later when everybody's like, you should be over this, and it's like, I'm just really realizing that I need her and she's not here.
Absolutely. And everybody's journey is different. Even if had your daughter not been born, you could have potentially grieved later on with your mother because a lot of people, we become in denial the fact that we lost somebody, knowing that it's forever. We're never going to see them again until we transition.
Right.
But at least you were able to, at some point in time, go through that grieving period because you have to.
Yeah, you do. And if you don't, you will develop anxiety and sometimes even like trauma triggers because that's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life is bury your parents.
Yes.
And so, or a child.
Yes.
And so you will develop anxiety from suppressing your emotions.
Yes.
So one thing that I like, and I even use this with my clients, anybody I've worked with closely, they'll tell you, we're going to assess your life too, because if you're going through something, you need to figure out the solution. So my motto for my company is build a brand, manage the brand, protect the brand. And so all of that is a part of it. Your mental health is a part of it.
Absolutely.
Because if you have a breakdown in the wrong place, in the wrong space, it could be damaging to your brand. So if it's like we need to go back to the drawing board and heal in some spaces, we need to do that.
That's one of the biggest things that I've learned in life is getting involved with people, whether it's on a personal level or a business, if they are not healed, 99% of the time it's not going to work.
Right.
Especially getting into a relationship with someone who's not healed.
Right.
Never do that again.
Right. Tell me about it.
I've done it twice and I'm like, why do I keep repeating this cycle? But that's off the subject. But it's the same thing working with a client. Like you said, mental health is very real and some people don't want to address it because they don't want to admit it. And it's okay if you need to go get therapy. It's okay to talk to somebody.
Right.
Just because you're a man doesn't mean that you all tough and macho. We're all human beings. We have emotional, we have that human element that comes into play. So I love that you incorporate literally every aspect of life when it comes to working with your clients.
See, I believe that my journey, because we've omitted so many details, but I just believe that my journey was not for me.
Yeah.
For me to get to a place where God make me over management. And so that means literally I'm coming to you and we're recreating what's already been created.
Yeah.
And so that don't mean that it's not already great. That just means that we're figuring out how to make it better.
Yes.
And in doing so, I just don't skip steps. And clients that require that I skip steps, I end up not staying with.
They're not for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes we got to leave people where they're at unapologetically.
Right.
Because it's like, how is someone going to come to you and want to hire you in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, putting you in places, management or PR, but then tell you how to do your job?
Right. Right.
That
you change the ingredients, you change the product.
It's like they come to you for a reason because they see the value in what you do.
Right.
But don't try to change your formula.
Right.
Let Rocki do what Rocki does best.
Right.
Or you wouldn't have come to her,
Right,
and
exactly.
That irks me. Speaking, still on your music journey, I want to talk a little bit. You became a member of Street ENT and you contributed to a compilation album which had Boosie, BG, Rich Boy, etc. The list goes on.
Yes.
Like, again, that's probably one of them things a lot of y'all didn't know about her.
Know that.
we let the cat out the bag today. Tell us about that.
So, Street Entertainment, when I moved to Alabama during Hurricane Katrina, one of my cousins knew the owner of that company.
Okay.
And so they're like, hey, you got to lock in with them because, they got motions.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'll never forget, they pulled up on me, which to me felt like if Master P came to visit me and check me out to possibly sign me. But they pulled up. I rapped for him. I played a couple of tracks that I had recorded. And he gave me some beats right away. And he like, yeah, we want to work with you. And they pulled me in. So he gave me maybe about 10 beats. And probably within like 2 days max, I was ready to record on all those tracks.
Were you writing?
Well, so the way that my creative process is a little different.
Okay.
So I more so think my lyrics. I don't really write. If I write, I'm a stumble. But I just kind of think it through until I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's not like everybody's doing now that's punching. Because when I go to the studio, I'm fluent. It's like one take, one ad libs, moving on. Hook, verse, ad libs, moving on.
You're writing it up here in your head.
Yes, I'm writing it in my head.
I know that's right.
And it's like the melody of the beat is what tells me what I'm supposed to say. So I'm sure somebody out there that understands.
Sure, absolutely.
But yeah, so I go to the studio and they were so impressed because they were like this girl, she hungry, like she ready. So Andre McMillan, which he's deceased now, he passed away in 2007. And so he was like the first person, honestly, in my life that I can honestly say, like, it's one thing for somebody to say they support you.
Yeah.
But it's another thing for somebody to support you. And he supported me. He supported one of the reasons why who I am is because of who he was. Yeah. Because he took on Rocki. He took on, you got some challenges in life. Okay, yeah, these are now our challenges. Let's work through these together, you know. And so I recorded a song, Superfly, featuring Rich Boy. Shout out to Rich Boy. Rich Boy forever. I don't care what they say about him. He's forever a legend in my book.
I agree.
He's one of the first in our city. Mr. Big, shout out to last Mr. Big as well. But he's one of the first from Alabama who paved the way and showed us, like, we can do it for real.
Yeah.
And so he placed me in some rooms initially that, like, Polo the Don listening to my verse and assessing if this is going to be a cut on the album. Like, he put me on his project. And, you know, you got these different people assessing my music because I connected with him. So that's, I'm forever grateful to Rich Boy for that. But he gave me that feature for my project to go on our compilation album. And we actually put it out after Dre passed away. So we were working on it. Yeah. It was something that was supposed to develop soon. But when Dre passed away, it was our tribute to him. So Greedy, which he's deceased now, it's a lot of...
That's difficult, right?
We've lost, you know, and if any of my family from Alabama, from my street entertainment family, like, I just want to say, like, wherever everybody is right now in life, we've been through a lot as a family because we did lose a lot of our team. Yeah. You know, R.I.P. T-Mac, he passed away as well. I mean, we lost a lot of people on this journey. So if you know me, you know that that's where my passion, my drive comes from, because I feel like everybody that fell along the way, I'm the one to tell that story. Yeah. So. Absolutely.
Do you feel like that the journey you went through as a music artist is what inspired you to develop Make Me Over Management?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, I mean, I never knew I would end up here, but understanding even my role when Dre passed, I had to become the team for myself, because everybody's dealing with their different emotions and nobody's in the same space. But I'm like, we got to keep going. Yeah. So we tried as a team, and then I'm just one of those people that no matter what's happening, once I decide this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. Yes. So you do it scared, you do it broke, you do it alone, but you're going to do it. And so I just kept pushing, and my goal behind it all was to make sure that what he invested in before he left would not, you know, be in vain.
Yeah, absolutely. You're really truly carrying his legacy, and I love that. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
She's like a breath of fresh air, y'all. Like, I'm so serious. I'm learning a lot about you today, too. And I love that, because that's what this is all about. It's for people to understand your journey, because they see where you're at now, but they don't understand what you've been through. You've been through a lot of traumas and things, losing your mom, and, you know, with your daughter being born premature, that was, you know, we didn't know what that was going to look like at that point in time. Right. You've been through a lot. Are there any current projects that you're working on with any of your clients that maybe aren't out yet, but you can speak on?
Current projects that's not out yet that I can speak on. No, everything that is, that I can speak on is pretty much out.
Got you.
Yeah.
So Puda right now, again, that's like your baby right there.
Yeah,
you know?
his project is For You. Yep, that's out right now.
Got you. What are some things that we can expect coming up? You know, he's got this project out. What else can we expect to see from Puda in the near future?
Oh, he also has, I don't know if Puda's originally from New Orleans.
Oh, okay, dope.
So last year at South by Southwest, we had the pleasure of doing a legendary feature for him because of where he's from. It's like, it was a big deal for him. But Kid from Squad Up. Yep. We did a feature with him in Texas at South by Southwest.
Amazing.
So I'm hoping we'll get around to that this year. But he just put out like a 20-song project. So we got more than enough to work on before we get to the unreleased. But he got some features. He got a couple of more features from some Alabama artists that has motion. I'm not going to speak on those yet. But he got quite a few features that soon we'll get to.
Got you. Understood. Makes sense. You've been through a lot. You know, life has done its thing with you, as it does for a lot of us. What do you feel like is the biggest sacrifice that Rocki has had to make in order to pursue your career as a whole?
I had to be very selfless. Yeah. Because the selfish part of me wants to grieve, wants to sometimes dwell, you know. I look around, and everybody that I feel like I want to share this journey with, it's people here that I want to share it with, but it's a lot of people that's gone, and I'm like, man, I wish I was here, you know. Yeah. My mom, my brother passed away while I was at Dre's funeral. I was literally at his funeral. My mom showed up, and I was like, my mama here.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, like, this a different level of support, you know? And so she show up, and she didn't want to tell me. She's just like, I need you to leave. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not leaving. Yeah. So whatever's going on, just tell me. And she couldn't fix her lips to tell me, and so my aunt just blurted it out, and I literally passed out.
Oh my gosh.
Literally. My brother, we were 13 months apart. He was almost like my twin. So, that left a major gap, because he was that person that was behind me every step of the way. Like, my sister the best at it. Nobody harder than her, And so I think that was probably the hardest part. It's like I have to turn all of that off to be Rocki for everybody else. And sometimes Rocki needs somebody else, and that's just being human. But the person that I have is God.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's always on time, every time.
Yes.
You lost your brother and your mother at a young age.
Right.
My gosh, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine. I've lost both, but I was a little bit older in life, and it's like, it's so permanent.
Right.
You feel like you lose your entire support system when you lose people that close to you. It's very, very difficult. What legacy does Rocki want to leave, through her journey?
My journey, what I want to leave behind is just a story of resilience. Yeah. A story of never giving up, of trusting God with everything. I literally wake up every day and trust God with my entire existence. Yeah. And so anybody that works closely with me, they'll tell you, like, I've been through, because I'm very transparent too. Like, if life is happening to me while we are dealing with each other, I have no problem sharing that, because you're going to watch me walk out of it too. Yeah. And that's going to make a deposit into you for yourself, because I see people quit. And it's like, when you quit, you're starting over every time.
Absolutely.
So I don't care what comes in your path that tries to slow you down to stop you. If you taking just one step at a time, you still going forward. Yes. But the moment you stop, it's done. Yes. And you're starting over. So I just want that to be what people remember about me. Like, no matter how difficult it has been, no matter what you've seen from me, you've never seen me quit, ever.
Ever. It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
She's super resilient, y'all. She's going to keep going.
Absolutely.
Anybody who wants to work with you on any level, with all the services that you offer, what's the best way for them to follow you, contact you, keep up with you?
The best way to keep up with me, honestly, is social media. Yeah. But if you DM me, I respond back. Sometimes people be like, "Oh my God, you responded." And it's like, yeah. Now, I have been trying this little AI assistant thing.
I tried it too.
I'm about to get rid of him, because although it is helpful, but sometimes he be way off. Like, so if you ever DM me and it seems a little crazy, it probably is not me. And just give me a second and I'll respond.
I tried that too on my radio station page, and sometimes some of the responses it gave, I was like, I would have never have said that.
Exactly. But what I can tell you, the more information, like the more you respond, is learning you.
Right.
So it did eventually start sounding like me, to the point where people that I talk to every day is having a conversation with AI.
That is hilarious.
Like, bro, that's not me. And I'll tell them it's not me, and then they'll still do it. And it's like, okay, so this thing has really got adapted to like my personality. But every now and then he'll throw out a price or something that's like, okay, let me turn this off. Yeah.
It's like, hold on a second. That's not what I would have said.
Right, because I don't even give out prices. We have to talk and figure things out. So
absolutely, because for what you do, there's so much involved for you just to throw a price out there. Right. That's why you can't post your prices online, because it's like you said, it's a case-by-case basis. So the Instagram handle, tell them where they can follow you that.
It's Rocki, ROCKI_THE_mogul.
Definitely. Absolutely. Listen, I know you have a lot of people throughout your journey that's loved on you. Who do you want to give thanks to or give a shout out to for supporting you?
I want to give a shout out to my friend Shay. She is a manager as well. She also does accounting, and she kind of pulled away from this space. So I'm like, I'm still going for us, girl.
I know that's right.
But she has supported me even though she switched gears for herself. So I want to give a shout out to her. I want to give a shout out to my photographer, Charles Jordan. Y'all go check him out. Jay Woods. I want to give a shout out to Clean Face Management. He gave me some opportunities. Troy Marshall connected me with the Cash Doll Tour, which ultimately led to me doing some PR work for her as well.
Amazing. I love her. I love her energy.
Right, absolutely. And so even with like when you saw her on the Portia show, Dish Nation, you know, that was a touch from Rocki. So and that came by way of Troy Marshall. So shout out to him. Shout out to Cash Doll. She did have an amazing run. She really did. That tour was an amazing run.
Absolutely. One more thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to bring up earlier is you got the opportunity to make an appearance on the J Hood show.
Oh, yeah.
Which is I'm like one of her top fans on Facebook. I love some J Hood. What was that experience like?
So I get this DM for tickets to the show.
Okay.
And then they start asking me questions about me, like the day before. And I was like, they about to pull me on this show. I was like nervous out of my mind, you know, because although I have been around all these things, but I'm literally like, a lot of people don't know I'm a little shy. I'm not shy, but I'm shy.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, my nerves was like super, super bad, but it was cool. It was a very quick process. The segment that I was on, it was a sales segment with Amy. I can't remember her last name, but it was with Amy and Jennifer. So my daughter, I never forget when I got home and my daughter watched it. She was like, oh my God, Mama, Jennifer Hudson said your name. She was like, hey, Raquel, you know. And so my daughter was like, oh my God, she said your name, you know. But it was pretty cool. And the whole journey was inspiring because, number one, I'm in LA for the first time. I went out there by myself because, again, we do it broke, we do it alone, we do it, but we, you know, we're going to do it however we have to get it done. So I went out there by myself. And so I'm a little intimidated by being in LA by myself.
Sure.
But when I got to the Warner Brothers studio, that alone, if I never made it into the studio, just being in that space was like inspiring.
100%.
And I realized that my reach in Atlanta is great. But now I need to reach farther.
So much bigger than Atlanta.
So much bigger. So I did the show. I kind of reflected on just where I wanted to be that the rest of that night. I didn't go anywhere. I went back to my room.
Yeah.
The next day I went to the Toyota Arena for Gorilla and Moneybags Yo concert. They had the Voters concert going on. Shout out to Troy again. He pulled me in, showed me a lot of love, gave me some media passes and full access to the building. So that was a great experience. And I'm like, you moving around in LA like you move around in Atlanta,
know that's
you
right.
know? So that was pretty dope. But I just realized then, like, it's so much more. So I started just reaching deeper. If I want to take on a client like Denzel Washington or whoever, even Jennifer herself, like, you have to be bigger than them. So I was like, you got to get bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
So I just started working on not just, you know, having a routine, a flow, but now expanding my reach, which I have done. I have done in a very short period of time. I've definitely opened up some new doors for myself and my clients.
I know that's right. Listen, she is not local. She is global. Okay.
Period. Speak that on me, girl.
The last thing I want to ask you, and it kind of falls right into what we're talking about. We're live. Where are we at?
Industries.
Big Industry's Most Wanted, not the little one.
Period.
Wanted.
What makes Rocki the industry's most wanted?
I'm the industry's most wanted because I'm not like nobody else.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, you know, that's kind of cliche for everybody says that, right? But I do feel like my process, and most clients that come to me, if they work with someone else, they're like, oh, I like this over here, you know, because there's a difference. I'm not giving you a cookie cutter solution to your brand. A lot of people call me and they're like, what, you know, do you have prices on this and that? And it's like, no, I have an assessment period.
Sure.
So we can figure out what makes sense. So a lot of people don't do that. And I would encourage anybody that is coming up in the game or that's actually making things happen right now. If you're not doing that, you should definitely be looking at what this particular client needs, because that's what's going to get the results. That's what's going to make sure that you satisfy your client and your goals for the client. Because sometimes what they want is not to be the biggest in the world. I've literally had clients like, listen, I don't necessarily want to be the biggest artist. I just want to connect with the right people.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, you figure out what your clients want and connect accordingly, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what makes me industry most wanted, because I'm not like anybody else.
I know that's right.
I'm doing my thing my way, you know.
And I think that your approach is the absolute right way. That was a gem that she just dropped on y'all. So anybody aspiring to do what she does, you have to do a case-by-case basis.
Right.
Shout out to Rocki Patrice, Rocki the Mogul, Rocki the Great, Rocki is in the building. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. I do have one thing.
Sure.
One message I want to leave with everybody that's watching. Feed your focus, starve your distractions. If you take that in every aspect of your life from this point forward, you will see growth. Feed your focus, starve your distractions. Distractions are always going to come. As you see just from listening to my story, there's a lot of things that could have knocked me down many times, but you have to feed what you want to be strong at, what you want to grow. And if you feed the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, the lack of, that's where you're going to end up. But if you feed your focus, you will grow for sure.
I love that. Listen, I love that. Somebody once said to me, life is like a camera. What you focus on is what develops. Similar to what you said. And I was like, yes. And I've always kept that in my mindset. Like you said, focus on and feed the positive things and the things you want to see grow. Water it, baby it, nurture it. Absolutely. Shout out to she dropping the gems today, you guys. Thank you.
Shout out to you for this dope platform.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being here today.
Likewise.
We out of here, y'all.